Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I have been very inactive on this channel for quite some time. If you're familiar, I used to make a lot of Sims related content back when I was like 13 to 16, and I feel like I've made most of those videos private, but even if I didn't, there's no point in hiding that part of myself. It was a moment of growth, if you will. But today I'm here with a new idea that pertains to something I'm very interested in. In fact, it is pretty much my career path I'm choosing to take, and that is photography and making photo-related content. So as I said before, I was like really young, 13 to 16, making those Sims videos. Well, now, 3 years later again, I am 19 and I will be 20 this year. So I think it's time to really get my life together and really get organized and actually keep up with my channel this time. So yeah, this is my first edit with me video, and I'm showing you guys my current project of me editing photos for a Black Lives Matter piece that I'm creating. I'm actually planning to put these photos into a zine or photo book, and a zine is just like a mini magazine, usually made out of paper or something along the sorts, but you know, they could be really fancy or just really homemade and cute. I'm not sure which direction I'm gonna go, but definitely including these pictures in that zine, and I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the video. So at this point in the video, I'm basically just going through all the photos that I've taken of my brother and sister and just getting rid of the ones that I don't really like or just don't want to include in this photo set, I guess. Because like typically I take anywhere from 60 to 300 photos per shoot, and this one went by pretty quickly, so I think the total was 65. So I'm just like filtering through before I actually start editing, and then later on I will start actually editing the photos. So I am a Black female artist, and I am so grateful that I can use my work to spread awareness and hopefully try to get justice through like selling my work and using that money to like put into movements and organizations like Black Lives Matter. So yeah, and that's what this project is all about. So basically, I have gathered my little siblings and cousins and all of the young children in my family to help me convey a message of what not just Black people, but Black children have to worry about. So the little girl in the blue shirt, it's my little sister, and she's dressed like this to portray Breonna Taylor. As you all may know or may not know, she was an EMT and she really liked to help people, as her family has stated. And so my sister is dressed in that blue shirt to represent that and is holding a stethoscope, I think that's what it's called, to like represent like being in healthcare or something along those lines, something where she would help people. And a lot of Black women actually go out to be nurses or in those types of fields where they're helping people. And so, you know, it's really sad about what happened to Breonna. It breaks my heart thinking about it, because, you know, we go out and help these people and then we're treated like, I don't know, like superhuman or like not human at all. Or at least for the Black woman, I can speak to that. You know, we're expected to be strong and take everything, but it's really difficult to do that in this country. And so, yeah, so basically my sister, she's posing like happy, like a very hopeful young girl, but there's also photos where she's crying or she's sad or she's stressed. And my plan is to juxtapose those photos in order to convey like this is how I am on the outside, this is what I want, this is what I'm hopeful for. But on the inside, I have to deal with this stress and fear of what's going to happen to me because I'm still a Black woman and I live in America, you know? So that's the purpose behind that. And my brother is also featured in this little edit with me. And, you know, his persona is just like really any Black man just walking down the street happy or whatever. And then he's also stressed or upset or fearful in the other photos. And, you know, it's really scary for Black men because they are targeted a lot. Not to say one group is targeted more than the other. Black people in general are targeted and face racism every single day. I've even faced racism for years and never knew it because I am lighter than most people in my family, so I never recognized it. For instance, I would get compliments, or they're not even really compliments, but comments rather, like, oh, you're so beautiful, what are you, you know? And I never knew that those were microaggressions when I was a kid, because I would be asked this question by many white kids because I went to a predominantly white elementary school, and these were the questions I was asked. Or they would automatically assume I'm mixed because I was lighter. So now that I'm like thinking back to that, I'm realizing it. So yeah, it's pretty terrible. And yeah, so that's what this photo set is meant to convey and to really speak to people. And I feel like when you see children in these positions, it really makes you more aware, I guess, or think harder, perhaps, about how the children feel. We see how the adults in this country are treated. We know that it's really, really bad for Black adults, Black teens, but what about the kids who are still hopeful because they don't know what to expect? They're just a child, and, you know, racism really isn't something you're born with. It's something you learn as a kid. And so, yeah, I just really wanted to convey that. I've said that so many times. But yeah, so this is just my process and how I go through. And you'll notice that I use the editing in Apple Photos. In another app on my Mac. I do not own Adobe Creative apps at all. I am a broke college student, and so I'm working on getting Photoshop, but for now I just use that and this app called Polar. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's free on the Mac App Store. I think it's on iPhone and iPad as well. But yeah, it's kind of similar to Photoshop, but not really. You have to pay for extra features, but I don't. And I feel like my photos are still pretty decent without it. So I'm not mad. I work really hard on these, but it's worth it. It makes me happy. It brings me joy, and that's all that matters. And sometimes I do like export the photos from my computer to Google Photos and then to my iPhone, where I use Photoshop Express, which is another free app on the Apple App Store, and Lightroom. And like I'll tweak the photos a little, but I don't always use that, and for these photos I didn't. So I think I talk more about that towards the end again. So alright, so I'm gonna let this clip continue and let you guys see how I work. Alright, so at this point in the video, I finished the set, or the first set with my sister, and I'm moving on to the set with my brother. Now I did mention earlier that my sister's outfit, like I kind of styled the kids, but not that well. So she's representing Brianna, and so my brother here, he is representing, would represent any normal black man, just being happy and positive and walking down the street. So like that is why I told him to just pose and smile and be happy. And in this photo he's like holding up a finger like, I have a great idea, or just happiness, so that explains the poses, I guess. And so I'm just working through the normal process in Apple Photos or whatever, and I'm gonna speed this up again, the clips, when I'm done talking. But yeah, so you'll also see his other images where he looks angry or sad because he doesn't know what to do, and he's stressed out because he has to worry about what's gonna happen when he's just walking down the street, like he looks happy in this photo just walking down the street, and then anything could happen. And so that's the scary part, and just continuing that message and trying to convey that. And especially I feel like with children, especially black children, people will understand a little bit more, hopefully. There are a lot of people who don't realize or listen, and I've even had, or we're no longer friends, but there have been people in my life who just don't understand why I'm so upset or anything. So I've talked to some of those people and now they're more aware, but some just refuse to listen. So that's just, I guess, what happens in this country. We are so politically divided over everything, and it is very disappointing to say the least. But so yeah, I'm just gonna continue editing and let you guys follow along. So I wanted to jump back in here at this image of my brother and his fist, just to say that, like, for all of my photos, I don't really, like I said, I don't usually edit my photos, so for some of them, many edits weren't really necessary. I was mostly just playing around with stuff just to see. So yeah, that's why that one was like, I didn't really feel like I needed to edit it, but I just wanted to spice it up, And now these are another set of photos for my sister, and you'll see I skipped some because, like I said, I didn't feel like they really needed much editing. I think I exported them in the other app to like lighten her eyes or something, but other than that, I was happy with the lighting and the colors within the image itself. And so this set is not like her representing anyone. This is mostly talking about like how we're dealing with a pandemic, and we wrote on the mask, "This is a war." And I was inspired by this by the new Bring Me the Horizon song. It's called Parasite Eve, and they basically say that this is a war, and they make references to the pandemic, and I 100% like feel that, if that is right, but you know, I really resonated, or that song resonated with me rather, and I was just so inspired, and I was like, yes, this whole thing is a war. And she's like wearing our mom's dress that kind of reminds us of like African print. We did what we could. Our mom wasn't here to help, and she like usually wears all this African stuff, so like we tried our best. But yeah, so like the whole movement of Black Lives Matter and like protests and all of this, in addition to dealing with this virus that's going around, is so like scary, and it's definitely a war, because it feels like, or at least to me personally, it feels like no one is doing anything. So that's an explanation of that shoe, and now I'm about to move over to Polar, which is the, I guess that's how you pronounce it, the other app I use to edit my photos on my Mac at least. And so in this clip, I am just really like brightening up my sister's eyes and like making them kind of not fake, but just enhancing them to make them look brighter and draw more attention to them when I zoom out. So yeah, and it says I'm out of space, but you know, I just ignore it. It still works. I don't know why it does that. I just always click whatever. So yeah, that's me just adding little details to her eyes, and later on you'll see me like whiten their teeth a little, and just really minor things. And typically when I'm editing, after this step, and I do name them like my sister's name, and then like edit something, and then like number, so I can just keep track when I'm like exporting the photos, because when I'm done, I export all the edited versions of the photos to Google Photos, because I do not pay for Photoshop or any Adobe stuff, as I said at the beginning of this video. So yeah, but for this set, I just finished when I was done when I was in Polar, or finished up in Polar. So yeah. Alright, so these are some of the final photos after they've gone through all of the editing apps, and I also included some of the overlays that I did off camera, just as a sneak peek to what I would be including in the zine that I'm making with these. Zine photo book, I'm not sure which direction I'm gonna go in just yet, but something along those lines, and I will be making them available for sale, so I will leave that link in the description for you to purchase if you'd like. And these are not the only photos, there are so many more, but I just didn't show myself editing those in this video. So yeah, if you'd like to purchase, that would be great. You will be supporting me as a young Black artist, and I will also be donating to various organizations that are helping Black Lives Matter and getting justice for George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and just every victim of police brutality, and just, helping the movement as much as I can. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you have any ideas for future videos regarding photo related content or really anything, just leave that in the comments below and I will check it out and see what comes next. So thanks for watching, much love, sending positive energy everywhere, and yeah, see you at the next video.